Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about when does no contact start working? So this is a big question, and I actually talked about this many years ago when I first started the channel. If you're new to me and my channel, I am a therapist and a dating coach, and I've been doing this for many years, and I've been very passionate about breakups and understanding why they happen, how to repair them, and all the things in between. Okay? So when people talk about no contact, there's a lot of different ways that people suggest to go about it. Mine is very simple. You don't reach out. After a breakup, if somebody ends the relationship, you just leave them alone and you let them be. You want to stop reaching out, and no more calling, no more texting, don't look at their social media, don't like their posts. You want to stop all forward momentum. This is absolutely critical if you really want the power of no contact to impact your ex, okay? Because I know what it feels like when somebody's broken up with you. You feel like you're dying, and you feel like they don't even care. They don't care that you are hurting. They don't care what you're going through. They act like they don't even care if you're alive or dead in a lot of cases. And I've been there. But it's not true. Even though they act like that, especially at the beginning of a breakup, it doesn't mean it stays that way. It doesn't, okay? But in order to flip it, in order for your ex to really feel the power of no contact on them, you've got to stop reaching out. Okay? That's critical. See, initially, when your ex ends the relationship, they're more relieved, right? Okay? You stop reaching out, and now they feel better about the situation because it was their choice. Okay? They ended the relationship, and of course they had stress and anxiety about doing that. It's not easy to end a relationship, especially when you care about the person. You don't want to hurt them. But for whatever reason, it wasn't working. They didn't want to continue. They weren't happy maybe, and they weren't getting their needs met. Whatever it is, they end the relationship, and now you kind of feel like you're abandoned and you're alone. And I've been there, but I could tell you, you are not alone. And we are here to help you. We constantly put out new videos for you every week, and we have like 1,200 plus videos on the main channel. And you can see a lot of the people struggling and hurting in the comment section. So believe me, if you feel like you're alone, you're not. Now, when you're hearing that they're relieved, it hurts. Knowing that somebody feels better that you're not in their life anymore is really painful. And I have felt that before. So I know what it feels like. But just trying to understand that something was going on that they were unhappy about. I don't know if you weren't meeting their needs, if they weren't feeling a strong connection or attraction to you anymore. And that doesn't have to be looks. A lot of times we think it's looks, but a lot of times it's not about looks. It's about behavior, really. And when we have attachment issues, it comes out in our behavior, and we do things that keeps us from being present with our partner, understanding them, having a safe, strong relationship, and then they get turned off, okay? So they're feeling relieved. You're not going to pressure them anymore. You back away, you leave them alone, and they stop feeling so guilty, and it just gives them a little bit of time to kind of process and reflect. Now, I actually got a comment this morning on one of my videos. It's called Your Ex's Heart During No Contact, and I'm sharing it so you guys can go take a look at it. It's on the main channel, Your Ex's Heart During No Contact, and I posted this also on my Instagram. And there's a reason I wanted to share this, because it lines up with what we're going to tell you and what we tell you all the time. So this woman said, yesterday I had dinner with my ex after 2 years and 3 months of no contact. And she said this next part in bold, he literally repeated what I said and what we say on the channel. This is exactly what an ex told her after 2 years of no contact. Initially, your silence and respecting my decision were relieving for me. But with time, it has become the worst punishment. I really hoped that you would call and lash out, but you never did. So that lines up with what we're saying about relief, and then it slowly starts to impact the other person. So people think you're going to forget about you after a few months. No. Years, many years, people do not forget about you. It doesn't mean they're always going to come back, but there are things you can do to improve the chances and decrease the chances. So don't fight the breakup. You fight them, it's not going to change their mind. They're just going to become more entrenched in their decision. They need to feel some of that independence. And as much as you don't want to do it, you have to. And another big question that I have is, well, in one sense, I do think it impacts the dumper right away. That's exciting to hear, right? And I do believe this, because even though they're feeling relief, you can feel the change in a connection with another person. It's on a deep level, right? And I think that they can feel that space with you even with a couple of hours or days and sometimes weeks. Obviously, it's different, but I do think people can pick that up right away. And I do think it shifts the breakup when they start to feel it and start to wonder, well, what's going on here? They're not reaching out anymore. They forgot about me. So I do think there is a short-term effect, but don't think in the short term, okay? This isn't about the short term. This is over the long term, okay? And one of the things you have to really understand is I really believe that no contact works when you least expect it. In other words, when you're constantly staring at their phone and you're still obsessing and stalking, for some reason, I think people can sense it. I don't know how, but when you're focused on bettering yourself and just finding the real you, finding the issues that you've had and becoming a more confident, attractive person, and you take the focus and you put it on you again, that's when I think another big shift happens. And I don't know how this happens. It may sound a little crazy. I understand if you think that I'm wrong, but I've been doing this for a long time, and this is just one of the things that I see. So, exes come back when you least expect it. I remember one time years ago, somebody had told me their ex reached out after a year and said, I just wanted to let you know, I hope you have a good day today. I mean, how odd is that? You don't talk to somebody in a year and that's what they say to you? You see what I'm talking about? That's completely unexpected. He wasn't thinking about her. He wasn't wondering about her. And here she is, popping back up in his life. Things like that happen all the time. But you kind of get focused on, well, how quickly can it work? Does no contact work quickly? Well, don't focus on what day they're coming back. They're not likely coming back at day 30 or day 45, which some other people talk about. Usually, I think if I have to give a time frame, I really think 3 or 4 months is kind of like the minimum where they've really had some time to digest things, process things, and kind of wonder about things a little bit. But you can't focus on when they're coming back because that's like staring at a clock, watching the time go by. It doesn't make it go by any faster. If anything, think about when you watch a clock, it's just going forever and ever and ever. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is when you focus on your ex, where they're at, what they're doing, who they're with, when they posted, when they last logged in, that's not going to help you get to the place that shifts the mindset, gets you in a good place, and makes them feel that disturbance in the force. And you can't fake this, okay? You can't fake being over them. You have to genuinely process it. You have to truly become obsessed with the personal growth, right? That's how I think no contact works faster, is when you're truly obsessed with focusing on healing attachment issues. That's when I think you get to such a great place and things change that all of a sudden you hear from them, okay? Now, is that crazy? Maybe, but, in a sense, we're all made up of energy, right? So why wouldn't be able to pick up on the energy and their connection with other people? But we can really get focused on our ex, and it's normal. But you have to understand that they're likely different than you in the way that they attach and they want love. And that's why we're always talking about mental health and attachment, because people attach differently. They have different needs for connection. They have different needs for space. They have different levels of intensity that they like before they can't handle it. We talk about attachment styles. Now, it's not as simple as anxious people want closeness and avoidance want space. No, we all like a mixture of both. We can tend to be one way or other in our relationships, but that's not even true all the time. There will be some people that you may be anxious with and some people that you're more avoidant with. And it has to do with that connection and that relationship. So it's not as simple as what are you, okay? But just understand that their needs in this breakup are different than your needs in this breakup, and that their desire for closeness and connection is different than yours. So you want to be kind of empathetic and understanding, and your goal is to focus on making no contact more powerful against them. Okay? So when you focus on your personal growth, and that if they show back up in your life again, you're in a great place, they're going to be a lot more drawn to that new version of you where you're more compassionate, empathetic, you have better communication skills, you're better able to regulate your emotions, things like that. Learning to soothe yourself is huge, okay? Regulating those emotions is huge. It's such an attractive trait. And that's one of the things that we teach you to do in the Creative Healing course and the workbooks, is to really get centered that no matter what happens in any of your relationships, you're in a great place. So when you're focused on the things that are going to better yourself and your own life, it causes your ex to go through a lot of different things. Things aren't as great as they thought they would be after the breakup. They're not as happy as they thought they were going to be. They start to miss you. They start to wonder about you. They start to get curious about you. And then they start to get anxious about you, which is exactly what I want. I want your ex to feel separation anxiety from you. Because I really believe that anxiety is the beginning of desire. Anxiety is the root of desire. And so the more anxious they are about you, the more likely they're going to worry about losing you, the more likely they're going to realize if they don't do something, they're going to lose you, and the more likely they're going to want to close that space and reach out to you. Not reaching out to them and breaking no contact and working on yourselves are 3 critical ways to really show, hey, I'm going to focus on being the best version of myself. And that's what I love about a breakup, is most people completely turn their life around in a way that they're truly happy, okay? So, on the other hand, your ex is now afraid of losing you, fearing the loss of you in their life, that you're going to move on, and that often makes them anxious enough to reach out to you and connect with you. Now, I really believe that the most common way that that happens is the indirect direct approach. It's what I call when somebody reaches out to you, they don't usually say, I miss you. They look for an excuse to reach out to you. Why? Because they're scared. They're afraid of rejection too. And I know you can't believe it. Why are they afraid of rejection? They broke up with me. They are. They haven't talked to you in a while. Now they're afraid if they reach out, you're going to reject them. So they look for an excuse to reach out. And hopefully at this point, you've been so centered and obsessed on the personal growth and getting to a great place, finding your happiness again, that they're naturally going to be a lot more drawn to you, okay? Sometimes you guys get so stuck on just them coming back that you don't process and do the work. And then years later, you're still hung up on somebody. That's not healthy for you either. You've got to process it. If you're stuck years after a breakup, this is really about your attachment issues that you haven't done enough work on. And if you did those workbooks, which I doubt, you have to go back and do them again. You need to get into therapy because it's really about you at that point. Okay, it's normal to suffer for a breakup and to struggle for a while, but I see some people leaving comments 3 years later and they're filled with anger and hostility. Oh, they're never coming back. But, if you were focused on healing, getting to a good place, becoming more confident, becoming more secure, then you really wouldn't care as much what that person is doing with their life, because you feel so good about you in your own life that you realize that you can't force people into your life. All you can do is be the best version of you when they show up. So get to a good place. Stop focusing so much about when they're going to come back, how much impact it's going to have on them. You can control certain things, but there are certain things that you can't control. And I really believe the more you're focused on growing and getting really, really centered, the more likely when they come back and take a look at things, they're going to be like, you know what? Now that I see this person, now that I'm around them, I feel a strong attraction to them again. I didn't think I would feel this way like I did before, but here I am. And now they're starting to sweat it. Like, well, I don't know. And now they start to do all the little behaviors that may have turned you off before. But you're going to be compassionate and empathetic and just know, all right, it's because this person cares about me and they want to see how it goes. And that's a good sign. They're probably not going to do as much work as you are, but that's okay. You can't force them to. It would be nice if they do, and hopefully they do learn and grow and take accountability for the mistakes that they made in the relationship and want to be a better version of themselves for your relationship if you guys get back together, because that's the healthiest thing, is both of you working on your issues and focused on being a great partner for each other. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can get it on my website, askcraig.net. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.